Residents are returning to rubble. That's the state of affairs in Dunrobin and other parts of the region. Families are being allowed back in to see the disaster zone, the path of destruction, leaving debris and many questions about recovery. Some will see their homes for the first time since Friday, or at least what's left of those homes. Residents there are being allowed back in to see the disaster zone, the path of destruction, leaving debris, and many questions about what happened. This is some of our best video. You can just hear the fear in the voices of the woman who shot this video. Wow. Let's go to CTV's Catherine Latham, who's in Kinburn, where residents are having such a hard time with the devastation around them. Kathy, we can see it in front of you.
Yeah, look at this, Michael. I'm actually standing in what was the garage of Jason Nicholson, Jolene Dixon, and their three boys' house on Moores Road here in Kinburn. Just completely wiped out. You can see just everything on the ground here. And, you know, it looks like some of these walls are still standing here. But the truth is, when you open these doors inside, you'll see why this house and why, you know, they're saying that this house just can't be saved. I'll just show you. Tyler's going to take a look inside here. This is complete devastation inside. You can see the trees have gone right through the house. The roof just ripped off. Now, this is, as I said, the home of Jason Nicholson. Incredibly, he's in Kinburn. His brother, Todd Nicholson, lives in Dunrobin, about 10 kilometers away. His house was also hit. We just spoke with Jason a few minutes ago. This is the first I've seen up close, and it takes your breath away. Mm-hmm. This is your home.
Yep.
What do you think when you look at it?
It can be rebuilt.
It's easy to say, though, right?
Yep.
This is, you know, your stuff, and I know it's stuff at the end of the day, but
yep.
but it's your stuff.
Yeah. No, we pick up what we can and start over.
Unbelievably, and people can't believe this, but 10 kilometers away is where your brother Todd lives, and his house also destroyed.
Yeah, it was funny, not funny, but in talking to each other, he was saying he was okay, we were saying we were okay, not knowing that both of our houses were hit at the same time. So.
What does this do to your whole family, not just yours?
We were already close. You know, bring us, if it can, bring us much closer, even more. Like, you know, family and friends are awesome.
So now the Nicholsons are trying to save whatever they can here, and the rain is coming, we know, tomorrow. So they've actually tarped a bunch of items here trying to save it. And as I said, we just spoke with Jason because he's now gone to his brothers in Dunrobin to try and help them. This is the process they're doing, Michael, as they're working with insurance companies to try to figure out what comes next.
That kind of emotion felt by so many families right across the region. CTV's Catherine Latham reporting live from Kinburn. Thank you, Kathy. Well, the Calabogie area was also hit hard by Friday's wicked storm. Environment Canada officials are en route to check the damage. The storm system also toppled many trees and damaged homes. CTV's Megan Shaw is there. Megan, this is an area we didn't hear a lot about over the weekend.
That's right, Michael, but when we arrived here, the damage, you can see it all over. Trees ripped right out of the ground. We're here on Partridge Drive, where roofs have been ripped right off homes, and this community moving fast to repair. They're already putting these roofs back on. This home here that we're showing you hit the hardest on this street. The roof was ripped off, the trees all in the backyard ripped out of the ground. The homeowner says her dogs, when she came home, were all tangled up. Her husband taking cover inside the home. And we're going to hear from her coming up at 12:30, but right now I want to bring in the paramedic chief, Mike Nolan. And can you tell us, you were receiving calls right away on Friday, and as we mentioned, this was an area that we didn't know was hit this hard, but the damage significant. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, the initial calls that we received indicated it sounded like a locomotive coming through the community. From there, with power lines down and difficult to access areas, the paramedics moved in immediately to try and open up the roads with Public Works and to be able to access people that have been struck by debris.
And so we know now there's about 10 people that were injured. How are they now?
Good. Luckily, we had non-life-threatening injuries as a result. Certainly a lot of startled people with cuts, abrasions, and glass, in their skin and their eyes. But we're very grateful that people took cover.
Okay, and what's next? Because we see here they're moving fast to rebuild, but you are exercising a little bit of caution right now. So what is your message to community members?
Well, we still are without power throughout the greater Madawaska, Calabogie area. Really, nothing has changed in that regard since Friday. So we're encouraging people to take their time in terms of their own recovery efforts, ensure that they don't put themselves in harm's way. It's much like a big snowstorm. We often see people having heart attacks or heat or stress-related injuries. Take your time, use the resources that are available to you, and we wish everybody the very best in the coming days.
Perfect. And the chief will be on scene here. He's been speaking with residents. We're going to be speaking with residents as well coming up at 12:30 when we check back into the show. Michael.
So much devastation in so many places. CTV's Megan Shaw reporting live for us. Thank you, Megan. Megan is in Calabogie. Well, Mayor Jim Watson says we've made great progress and tremendous strides with restoring power in the last 24 hours. It's hoped that most everyone will have power again by late today or sometime tomorrow. This is just in the city of Ottawa. The mayor says the outreach from the province, the feds, and other mayors is very encouraging.
I've spent a fair amount of time with the Premier, and he was very clear that if we need help, the province is going to be there. I spoke with the Prime Minister. He offered the same thing. We've had offers from other mayors to bring hydro crews in. That's been very helpful. I met some crews from Stouffville and from Vaughan and other parts of the Greater Toronto area. So, you know, it's all hands on deck. And as the Premier said, this is not the time to be sort of a bean counter. We got to get the job done. And if that requires extra funds, then we'll call on the province for their assistance and help, and we appreciate it.
Mayor Watson will be touring Greenboro in a short while. We hope to catch up with him live in the newscast at around 12:30 or so. Well, Premier Doug Ford calls the devastation heartbreaking. He was in Ottawa yesterday. He toured some of the worst hit areas and met with those impacted. The Ontario government is pledging to expedite applications for help with emergency expenses. The Disaster Recovery Assistance Program was activated on Saturday night.
I just want to make it very clear that we will spare no expense to make sure we get people's lives back up and going. And I want to emphasize the great job that the first responders have done.
The Premier says it's too early to know what the exact dollar amount released through the program will be. The province says it's working closely with the city and also says insurance adjusters will play a role. Michael Maidman from the Ottawa Food Bank says 11 of the 29 community food banks have been hit hard and all perishable food is likely ruined. They still do not know how bad it is.
We feed 38,000 people every single month. So although we're distributing extra food and we're able to do that now, this is where the call for donations is really, really important for us because we know 38,000 people need to be fed this month. Even though we're doing extra now to replace food that's been lost and spoiled, we still need to continue our service to our regular clients.
Fortunately, food banks outside the Ottawa region as well as retailers have been reaching out with offers of help. Since Sunday, the food bank has been able to fill some trucks to help the western communities hit hard by tornadoes and storms. And Michael Maidma has sent out this tweet which says, we're searching for someone who can help with dumpsters to handle spoiled food at 11 food banks, mostly in the West End. If you can help, please email michael.maidman@ottawafoodbank.ca. Well, CTV Ottawa Chief Anchor Graham Richardson has been working pretty much non-stop since Friday night. Pretty much. Graham, you saw some of this devastating firsthand, and also on the radio, you heard the stories firsthand on Friday night. What impression has that left on you?
Well, it reminds me of very, very big natural disasters that I've covered in the past, Michael, where you get the sense, okay, something big is happening, and you don't get a sense of how big until the next day. What's also striking is this. We now have real-time view of tornadoes hitting the capital region in essentially HD off people's smartphones. People shouldn't do this. It's very dangerous, but we are seeing sort of how quickly the devastation can hit. What's striking for me, I was in Craig Henry on Saturday morning with a totally destroyed house. This man tried to get to the basement, and he only had a minute. He had his dog, and his dog was freaking out. So he got to the top of the stairs of the basement, and this had already blown through in about 60 seconds, and his house was gone. He's okay, nobody's hurt, but the devastation is just stunning.
That man lives next door to my daughter.
Yes, Yes.
It's the house next door.
Yeah,
Their
and-
house was badly damaged, but
Yeah.
nothing compared to the fella next door.
Right.
Which shows you how odd this path is. Like, his house is pretty much totally destroyed. Her house has severe damage,
Yes.
but it's still standing.
Yes, it's so random, and it's touching down quickly, and it moves a long period of time, and it's wide. My experience on the prairies with tornadoes is they drop down and then they go. The difference here is it's late in the season, as we heard from David Phillips. We've never seen one in September. The other thing is the length of it. The big one to go from Dunrobin to Gatineau. That's unusual. Usually they break up before. And then the F2, of course, that hit the Nepean area. They didn't think it was a tornado until they got in and saw all the damage, and clearly it was. And an F2, like it's like the hurricane ratings, you know, like well, it's been downgraded to a 2 hurricane or something. An F2 tornado winds north of 200 plus kilometers an hour. That is just devastating. So, and the other thing to keep in mind as well, for a lot of us, it's over. Power's back on, okay, you throw out the food. This will be months and months of rebuilding, and we've got to remember that. And Kathy's story off the top of your broadcast here in Kinburn, just gut-wrenching for that family and a lot of people facing it.
All right, you have a lot more work to do. You've been at it pretty much straight through since Friday, so thank you very much for this perspective, and we'll get more tonight at 5 and 6
All right,
o'clock.
Mike, thanks.
Thank you, Graham. Well, new video from West Quebec shows the sheer power and suddenness of Friday's storm. Take a look at this. The security footage from a dépanneur in Luskville was posted to Facebook. The storm appears relatively benign, and then take a look at what happens. Debris scattered all over the parking lot. The security camera eventually fell to the ground, but it comes up so quickly. Can we hold this just one more time so people can see it one more time? Here it comes. Take a look at how quickly. You got some light winds, and then watch what happens. Debris all over the place as it picks up. Here it comes. Look at this. In just a matter of seconds, as far as we know, no one who was in their vehicle at this time in this area was hurt. Look at that. That looks like something out of a Hollywood movie. Wow. In Gatineau, while 153 of the 212 buildings that were evacuated after the tornado have been returned to their owners, hundreds are still homeless and sleeping in emergency shelters. More than 2,900 customers still without power in that area Sunday afternoon. Another hard-hit area, Woodvale Green, just off Craig Henry Drive. Several roofs have been torn off buildings. There are cleanup crews there, and they've been there all weekend long and again today, and they will be for several weeks. The area is home to many students at Algonquin College. The school says it's open today, along with Carleton University and Ottawa. Meanwhile, fuel continues to run low, or not at all, at some gas stations around the city. There's absolutely no gas at this station on Hunt Club and Conroy. Stations posted signs saying they're out of gas. Others are just reopening after being closed yesterday. This Petro-Canada in Barrhaven was closed but reopened late Sunday night. And another issue was they didn't have power to pump gas at stations that did have gas. Friday's tornadoes damaged dozens of homes, and many businesses weren't spared. Mini golf gardens on Colonnade Road in Maryville destroyed by the tornado. Owner Ed Jansen says he's unsure if he'll be able to reopen before the snow comes. And the Ottawa Senators and their fans have joined together in a GoFundMe campaign that started Friday night, and it has now exceeded its goal. The goal was $25,000. The Sens plans to match that. Now the club will match up to $50,000.
We initially set a target for $25,000 on. The foundation immediately agreed that they would match that $25,000 target. Here we are this morning. We're at roughly $40,000 raised. The community's response has been overwhelming, and so we've decided that we're upping the ante. We're going to try and get people to $50,000, and the foundation will match that $50,000 for a total donation of $100,000 to this effort.
Ruskowski, a native of Ottawa, is not surprised by the overwhelming support. Ottawa Fire wants to warn and remind you about generators. If you're using one, it's advised keep it outside to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. And the areas hit hard have been served well by community support, and meals were being dished out at the Minto Rec Centre in Barrhaven. There were long lineups for burgers. City Councillor Michael Kakish was there helping with the grill. Well, here's a look at your local weather forecast, and so much depends on the weather. Sunny today but there is rain on the way tomorrow, which is going to make it tough for people that are out of their homes or getting repairs done. Currently 11 degrees in the capital under partly cloudy skies. The normal high today, 18 degrees, sunset before 7 o'clock now at 6:57. Our web poll today, would you be prepared in the event of a catastrophic weather event? Yes or no? Log on to our website at ottawa.ctvnews.ca to cast your vote. Well, in other news, Ottawa police have charged a second person with first-degree murder in relation to last weekend's homicide at a South End hotel. 25-year-old Tamara Balawan appeared in court Sunday morning, charged with first-degree murder of 30-year-old Mohammed Mana. Mana's body was found in a room at the Marriott Residence Inn on Watery Road late Saturday night. 32-year-old Crystal Bastien has already been charged in that case. A man in his 20s remains in serious condition in hospital after he was shot outside the South Keys Mall this weekend. Ottawa police were called at around 4:30 Saturday afternoon near the Walmart. 5 people were arrested. 2 underage males have been charged with various weapons offenses and assault charges. The other 3, 2 men and 1 underage female, have been released. The investigation is still ongoing. And a guilty verdict in the Dylan Millard trial today. Millard was found guilty in the death of his father. Millard had pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. The judge alone trial heard 71-year-old Wayne Millard was found shot dead from a gunshot wound in 2012. Prosecutors argue Millard murdered his father over his inheritance, while the defense maintains he took his own life, which is what police originally reported. This is the 3rd murder trial for Dylan Millard. He has already been convicted in the first-degree murder deaths of a Toronto woman, Laura Babcock, and Hamilton man, Tim Bosma. Tiger Woods is a golf champion again after personal setbacks and 4 back surgeries from disabling pain that almost ended his once dominating career. He has just completed one of the most unlikely comebacks in sports history. Woods earned his first win in 5 years at the Tour Championship in Atlanta yesterday. Now it's on to the Ryder Cup in Paris that begins on Friday. Lots more to come in the program. When we come back, the annual Army Run snakes through Ottawa, and later this. We'll hear more from CTV's Catherine Latham and Megan Shaw touring some of the devastation after Friday's storm. Leanne.
All just so surreal, Michael. Later in the program, your policy, your coverage. We speak with insurance brokers, and when we come back, a public health official on food safety for those who were days without power.
This program is sponsored in part by EQ Homes, building communities across Ottawa.
The Goldbergs have done the biggest blockbusters of all time. But now,
can't believe this. They forgot my birthday.
They tackle 16 candles.
Enjoy your party. Well, why did John Hughes make this seem so whimsical and fun?
The Goldbergs.
Help! Even Long Duck Dong had more dignity than this!
Streaming Wednesday at 8 on CTV.
I'm the best mom ever.
Followed by American Housewife.
You don't choose to be in an accident.
You don't choose to be seriously injured.
What is your choice is the lawyer you hire.
At Presler Law, you can speak to a lawyer for free, and there's no fee until you get paid. Call today at 1-800-JUSTICE.
The new Oak Trees tent event is on now. Save up to 60% off everything marked for the tent. Bedroom sets, dining room sets, coffee and end tables, and so much more. If you haven't been to the tent before, you have to check it out. The new Oak Trees tent event on now.
Hey now, where you gonna go from here?
Yes! Everyone dreams of winning the $2.3 million dream home in Chio's Dream of a Lifetime lottery. But order your tickets before midnight this Friday and you could win a musical dream come true. It's our You and U2 prize, a dream trip to see U2 perform in their hometown of Dublin, Ireland. Order tickets before midnight this Friday to qualify. Live the dream and help the little ones at Chio.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in concert. Relive the adventure of Harry and his friends as a live symphony orchestra performs John Williams' unforgettable score. with the full movie on the big screen. Don't miss this magical live concert event of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in concert.
January 25th and 26th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.ca.
It only happens twice a year. The Brick's huge semi-annual 3-day sale. Get up to 30% off futons and sofa beds. And this casual 5-piece dining package is only $3.95. This weekend only. The Brick, saving you more.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by W.O. Stinson & Son, your Ottawa and Valley oil and propane provider.
The Army Run went full steam ahead despite the severe weather and recovery over the weekend. Nearly 20,000 people walked, ran, and rolled through the downtown area for the 11th annual Canada Army Run on Sunday. Participants of all ages and abilities participated alongside Canadian military personnel, including ill and injured members. It's quite a sight. Well, the Ottawa 67s are lending a hand to people who needed help following the tornadoes.
Excuse me, would you like to make a donation?
The junior team offered free tickets to yesterday's game against the Peterborough Petes to those who were without power and wanted a temporary escape to enjoy an entertaining hockey game. The team also collected donations for those affected by the storm. Unfortunately, the 67s lost 7-3. Let's take a look at our regional weather forecast. Currently 11 degrees in the capital under partly cloudy skies. The normal high today, 18 degrees. The record high, look at that, 28 degrees. Sunset now at 6:57 p.m. Here's your storm tracker. This is the system that's going to move into the area overnight and provide us with some rain for tomorrow, which is bad news to those in recovery mode. But that's the system. It will move through, and then we're back to some more sunny skies for the balance of the week. Tonight, partly clear skies, but the rain will start later in the evening. Tomorrow it's going to be a rainy day, the high 17 degrees. The Ottawa Valley, much the same. Showers tonight, 10 degrees, rain tomorrow, 18. The Seaway down to 10 degrees tonight, and rain on the way, 17 degrees for tomorrow. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Davidson's Hearing Aid Center, celebrating 75 years. So here's your 7-day. Rain tomorrow, 16 degrees, the high. Sun, cloud, and up to 23 on Wednesday. The chance of a thunderstorm, and then a nice string of weather. Thursday, 17, sun and cloud. Friday looking really nice at 20 degrees. Cooling down a bit for the weekend, but plenty of sunshine. The high on Sunday, only 13 degrees. Well, the Ottawa Home and Remodeling Show is coming to the EY Centre this weekend. Get all the latest tips, inspiration, and advice from all the experts. You can win a 4-pack of tickets by emailing us at ottawacontests@ctv.ca. Leanne Cusack has the Supervisor of Public Health Inspections in studio with some very important information. Leanne.
Yes, Michael. Tony Diattore has been very busy this weekend and joins us to help those who've been without power to ensure they stay healthy post-power outage. Tony, the old adage, I guess, really holds true in this situation. You want everyone to know, when in doubt, throw it out. Why?
If you're in doubt of any food product and you're not aware, your best bet is don't take any chances. Foodborne illness can be severe, and you don't want that. And to coincide with that, we strongly advise not to taste your food. The bacteria that do cause foodborne illness, you can't smell, there's no color, there's no taste, so you wouldn't know. So please, please abide by the fact of when in doubt, throw it out.
And of course, this is the situation you're dealing with as well because you were without power. And what about the freezer? We're actually looking at a deep freeze right now. If everything still feels frozen, is it all good?
Well, that's a good question. In the freezer, so if your freezer is jammed, packed, and it could maintain its cold and freeze the food for as long as 2 days. If it's half fill, they say a day. And please understand, these are estimates. So if you go into your freezer, what you should do is to check each item individually. If the item has some ice crystals on it, I'm pretty sure that it'll be at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius or lower. So you can refreeze the product. But in the process of doing so, please understand that the quality of food will be absent when you refreeze it.
So it is diminished. We were looking at some visuals of people going through the fridge and feeling each item, and you
Yes.
say that's exactly what you should be doing.
Yes, you should. And again, but when in doubt, throw it out.
Okay,
Please
that's
don't.
really the motto we're going to
Yes.
stick with. Thank you so much, Tony,
You're quite welcome.
for joining us.
Thank you.
A lot of people will be cleaning out the fridge today, Michael.
Absolutely. We did some of it ourselves over the weekend. When we come back, how a helicopter helped a golf tournament. And later this. A real treasure found in a watery grave off the coast of Portugal.
With the new Hit or Miss lottery game, you can watch draws on your phone every 5 minutes with the OLG lottery app. It's never been more fun to miss, now that you can win by missing all of your numbers too.
The new Hit or Miss lottery game.
You won $250,000 with Hit or Miss.
I went and donated money to a charity. I love animals and I just want to rescue all of them. It feels great to just be able to do things you've always dreamed of doing.
The closer you get to home, the more you know the commute is worth it. You and that John Deere tractor. You can keep dreaming up projects all the way home. It's a longer drive, but just like a John Deere, it's worth it.
It's the Brick Semi-Annual 3-Day Sale. Get 55% off mattresses $7.99 or more. Plus, Springwall Eurotop mattress $4.92. The Simmers Pocket Coil mattress $4.45. And 63% off the Serta Perfect Sleeper mattress. A Brick, saving you more.
The 162nd Metcalf Fair, September 27th to 30th at the Metcalf Fairgrounds. It's the last country fair of the year with livestock shows, a fiddle and step dancing contest, and demolition derby, plus entertainment featuring the Recklaws, Rainwater Whiskey, the Riley New Band, and more. Come for the food, the rides, the animals, and the fun. The Metcalf Fair, just 20 minutes from downtown. See metcalffair.com for details. The Metcalf Fair. We want to make it your fair.
I just cleaned out the gutters myself.
Great.
That leaky pipe, DIY'd it. This wine is so good.
Of course it is. I did it myself.
His first time in Montreal.
La Pump 5.
Voilà. Lâchez pas.
Lâchez pas.
Nailed it.
Skyscraper fire downtown.
We're still holding about 100 civilians.
There's enough combustible materials to bring the whole building down. Andy, it's too much. You can't make it there.
Mayday! Repeat, Mayday! Firefighter down, need immediate assistance!
Jack, don't be a hero.
Station 19 returns, streaming Thursday, October 4th on CTV.
This program is brought to you by the CHIO Dream of a Lifetime Lottery.
Well, everyone affected by Friday's tornadoes will have insurance questions. Leanne Cusack has two very experienced brokers in studio. Leanne.
Michael, both Harry Binks and Scott Kirby's families have been in the insurance industry in Ottawa for more than 100 years. Even for the most experienced in the industry, the scope of the devastation is surreal. It is so incredible that many more people weren't severely injured or killed. And after the safety of family and friends is factored in, thoughts go to property and insurance coverage. Harry Binks of Binks Insurance represents commercial clients and has claims all over the region. Scott Kirby also dealing with claims of Kirby and Masson Insurance. And I'm glad to have you both here. I know people haven't even been able to get through to their brokers because your power's been out.
Half the time. Yep.
And you have already been on the line, I know, Harry, with a number of clients.
Yes, we've spoken to several clients. We had people out on Saturday to survey the damage, get a contractor started. I mean, one of the first obligations any business owner has is to protect the property from further damage that could happen. So once a window gets blown out, board it up so that no further damage happens. That's an obligation, actually.
Well, we really have a limited time to answer a lot of questions. And the first question, and there's fact and fiction. Some people say a tornado, oh, is that considered an act of God? Is there insurance coverage? And?
So a tornado is a form of windstorm. And as such, it is covered. And there are some companies who cover tornadoes and then exclude the windstorm and then add it back in, and others who just have it defined as windstorm.
Okay.
There is nothing in an insurance policy called act of God.
Interesting, and you emphasize that as well, Harry. So those who are dealing with the devastation, if they have an insurance policy, they will be looked after, but the process is going to be an incredibly lengthy one and emotional, I guess, as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, after the first responders appear on the scene to help out with safety issues and everything else, we're kind of second responders, so we're right there and answering questions right away, trying to put them in touch with the adjusters and the contractors to get damage fixed as soon as possible. It's in everybody's best interest to be back up and running as soon as possible. But you've got all kinds of different aspects of it, from the direct property damage that itself that happens, that as Scott said is covered, it's windstorm. But then you have to be concerned about the values. Did you have sufficient values in the first place for your insurance? Then you've got to think about business interruption. Then you've got to think about food spoilage, and even liability issues come into it as well. So the big thing is to have patience, talk to your broker, and he or she will lead you to the adjuster.
And of course, I mean, there are so many scenarios. Your neighbor's tree lands in your, through your home. Whose policy will look after that? I know that on the program before we featured, and it's the kind of thing that everyone wants to get around to, videotaping the contents of your home or doing itemized lists. But for the most part, do many people do that?
Not many people do the itemized lists in advance. However, using photographs, perhaps email memories or videos, you can make the individual list, which you will have to do when you make the claim. It is a manual process, and it can be long and arduous, and just take your time. Go by memory, by photographs of room by room of events, because our memories are faulty, and it will. You have to remember, you know that you will not remember it all at once, and there will be time will go by, and you will remember something that had not been listed.
Something will trigger it, and people are so exhausted right now and emotional, so of course not everyone is thinking clearly. One question that just relates to our last interview, and so many people who were affected by the power outage will be wondering whether or not the contents of their fridge, freezers are covered by their homeowners insurance policies. And just quickly, does that just relate to deductible?
The deductible applies, but food in your fridge and freezer is covered under your home insurance policies, subject to the deductible. So you need to make a list and come up with an approximate value to make the decision as to whether you're able to make the claim.
All right, thank you both so much for joining us, because I realize how incredibly busy you have been over the past number of days and in the days ahead. Thanks, Harry. Thank you, Scott. Michael?
They are very busy. We're hoping when we come back from break that we're going to be joined live by Mayor Jim Watson. We won't be talking to him directly, but we will be following him a bit as he tours the Greenboro area. That's around Hunt Club, Laurie, Greenberg, that suffered a lot of devastation as well, but we haven't heard a lot from that area. So we hope to do that when we come back. Also in our next segment, an Elvis tribute in the Capitol, and later this.
We have some really interesting astronauts.
A corn maze that's out of this world.
I'm Graham Richardson.
And I'm Patricia Bowl.
We are Ottawa's #1 news.
Your source for live, local, breaking news.
About 7.5 million 911 calls have come in.
Up until this point, it's been illegal.
This fight actually started Saturday night.
The Auditor General says we're on course for another incomprehensible failure.
The team you trust to tell your stories.
Ottawa's #1 news, weeknights at 6.
Live, local, breaking CTV News, weeknights at 6.
The Kukina Guard Oven Protector keeps the bottom of your oven clean day after day after day. For a limited time, purchase a Kukina product, register it, and receive a free Kukina packs by mail. Kukina, a Canadian-owned company.
It only happens twice a year. The Bricks semi-annual 3-day sale. Get 55% off mattresses $7.99 or more. Plus, 57% off this Simmons Pocket Coil mattress, just $4.45. 63% off this Serta Perfect Sleeper mattress. Simmons Beauty Rest mattress with 5 gel layers, only $6.99. This high collection by Serta mattress, 61% off. And save over $1,800 on the Stearns & Foster mattress at the Brick and the Brick Mattress Store. Saving you more.
The Lone Star team wants to thank you, Ottawa, for helping us build something big over the past 30 years. Lone Star's Fajita Fiesta. For a limited time, two can dine on our famous house-made queso and legendary Fajita Fiesta for only $45. Lone Star Texas Grill, home of Canada's favorite fajitas.
At LaVie Health, our team of specialists work together to ensure you and your family have the best care. Since 2007, LaVie has been a leader in preventative medicine, providing clients with access to the most advanced healthcare resources available and appropriate screenings to reduce the threat of disease. Contact us to learn more about taking steps towards your future well-being.
At LaVie Health, our focus is on your health for life.
Andre Rieu and his 60-piece Johann Strauss Orchestra are back in Canada this year with their long-awaited worldwide sellout tour. The European King of Waltz takes you on a true musical journey. It's a magical evening full of laughter, dance, and romance. Andre Rieu at Canadian Tire Centre, Thursday, September 27th. Book your tickets now on AndreRieu.com.
It's closer than you think. It's so close you can taste it. It's fresh, it's local, and it's made for you.
Love variety?
Magic 100, today's best variety. Home of Mornings with Stuntman Stu and Angie Poirier.
Our highway heroes are ready for an epic season. All new Highway Through Hell, Tuesdays at 10 Eastern, only on Discovery.
Well, there's been a watery discovery made off the southwest coast of Portugal. A shipwreck thought to have sunk sometime between 1575 and 1625 was found about 12 meters below the surface. Some of the things found on board include spices, Chinese ceramics, and some currency of the time. Divers are still working there to see if they can unearth any more treasures. Well, still so much devastation days after the twin tornadoes and vicious windstorm. CTV's Catherine Latham is at a West Carleton school and spoke with Peter Karageorgios with the Insurance Bureau of Canada. So many questions, as Leanne just raised, as residents will see their homes for the first time since Friday, or at least what's left of those homes. Kathy.
So, Michael, now we're turning to rebuilding, and that means using insurance to help you do that. Pete Karageorgios is with the Insurance Bureau of Canada. He's here at West Carleton High School today to talk to some of these residents. A lot of questions. Does insurance, the basic insurance, cover a tornado?
Yes, tornado is basically a severe windstorm, and most of the standard policies have coverage for wind damage, and that's what these people here have seen.
So what is the next step for them then?
In many cases, it's to report it to their insurance company, have this claim process started, have an adjuster signed, and thankfully a lot of the residents here that we've spoken to have already started that process, which is great. They now need to go out, assess the damage to their properties, determine what sort of repairs may be needed, or whether if their house is not livable, it needs to be completely rebuilt, and go through the damage there to start that process and assessing the claims as well as the cleanup, and that's a big piece of the puzzle as well too that people have to work through.
As you said, in many of these cases their homes were completely destroyed. Does insurance cover a place to stay for the next potentially year?
The good thing about an insurance policy is there are different types of coverages available to a homeowner who's seen damage like this. So there's coverage for the building, their dwelling, to rebuild it. There's coverage for their possessions, their contents, as well as coverage for additional living expenses, which is what is going to pay for people's expenses while they're out of their homes. But again, they need to work with their adjusters to document everything, keep receipts, take photos, that type of thing.
Take photos, receipts, find all those things if possible. And this is going to be a long process, right? This isn't an overnight thing.
Definitely. For individuals who have lost their homes completely or will have to rebuild, they're looking at rebuilding a home as if it's a custom home, starting from the ground up. So they're going to have to get engineers, architects involved, the municipality with the building inspectors, as well as contractors. So it will unfortunately be a lengthy process because it's not going to be a small situation. Some of those homeowners who have minimal damage, maybe a few shingles, some siding, again, they're in a position where they can probably still live in their homes and get those repairs done fairly quickly, but for the others, it will take some time.
This may be a frustrating process for them too. What's your advice?
Well, our advice is to work closely with their adjuster, ask any questions. Peace of mind is important too in terms of understanding the process. That's why we're here. We represent the insurance companies, and we've answered many questions that people have asked about what the process is, what they need to do. And you're right, it's going to be a challenging process for many people, but they will get through it.
So you're set up just the day at West Carleton High School?
We were here yesterday. We're here today. We'll likely be back tomorrow, depending on what the municipality does in terms of the school, because it's a functioning school, and if school is back in tomorrow, there's a whole host of resources here that need to find other spots.
Okay, Pete, thank you very much. So the process is now beginning in order to rebuild these homes. Michael?
CTV's Catherine Latham reporting live. Thank you, Catherine. Well, as we told you earlier, Calabogie was also hit hard by Friday's wicked storm. We haven't heard a lot about it, but we're hearing a lot about it now. CTV's Megan Shaw is there with more on what homeowners are facing. Megan.
That's right, Michael. We're taking tours right now. This is the first time we're seeing some of this damage. We were able to see an aerial shot from a drone, and we could see that roofs were ripped right off. Now we come inside this home, and I'm joined here by Joanne, who you can see right behind us. That's her door right there. It should be over here on the wall, but it's not. Joanne, what happened in here?
Basically, this door flew right out. It ended up over against the hallway, but wouldn't fit. And then the bay window literally blew outside, and everything basically escaped my house through that bay window, I'm guessing.
And you were saying that, you know, things that were in here were in a forest nearby. So did they fly right out?
I'm assuming they picked my comforters, because I had a comforter and pillow and stuff on the couch, because it was a Friday night, of course, from Thursday, and a ton of other blankets all stored in a cubby hole out here, and everything was gone. So I'm assuming they went out there because they were 130 yards back in the bush.
Wow. It just goes to show just how powerful this is. Now, today, you're actually searching for something important. Your wedding ring was on that table.
Yes, my wedding ring and my wedding band, because I can't wear them at work. I had on the coffee table, but I cannot find them. I have searched since the storm hit, but I cannot find them in this house. So I'm assuming they're somewhere outside.
And so you're going to keep looking outside. You know the cleanup's happening in your backyard right now as well. So, Michael, this is just one example. Joanne was coming home. She was in her truck. When she heard this sound, she felt the powerful wind. And now today, they're picking up the pieces. They're trying to get back home. Unfortunately, no power right now. So they are in a waiting game, staying with friends. And we're going to talk to her and some of her neighbors. And we'll have more tonight at 5 and 6 o'clock. Back to you.
Great news that everyone is safe, and it really is a shame about those rings. CTV's Megan Shaw reporting live. Thank you, Megan.